Soto and Chad here with episode 29 of the 200 movie
And I,
challenge, where no one's listening to the beginning, but we're doing this for ourselves. Yeah, no, this has been a crazy journey. I know I say this every week. And yeah, we're almost two-thirds of the way done of the year. So we're pretty much on pace because after today, Soto, we have
yeah,
combined watched 130 new movies this year that we haven't seen, which is
wow.
insane and it's hilarious. And I know it's just more amusing to us, but you know what? I like it. And again, I kind of look back at some of the movies we've seen and we talked about, and it's just, I know whenever we're done this and we do like we're going to have a Saturday podcast where it's just going to be about this. And
hmm
it's going to be great. But yeah, so we actually both have three movies to talk about. So we got a
Wow.
bit, we've gone 9 or 10 because we've had to double up. I know 4 to 5 has been our average the last few weeks, but yeah, having six, it's good. Getting ahead as we're heading into the fall. And so, as usual, we're going to jump right into it. And Soto, I want to start off with you. This is a very interesting choice compared to what a lot of the movies you've watched this year. But yeah, again, as I always say, I give you the floor. What was the first movie
Yeah.
you saw for this episode?
Well, I think I'm a little late to the party on this one, to say the least, seeing as how this movie is almost 20 years old. So really, it needs no explanation. But the first movie that I saw this week was the movie starring Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep. This is, of course, 2006, The Devil Wears Prada. Now, why didn't I see this movie at Blockbuster Video? Obvious reasons, because it looked like it was terrible. Why wasn't this one of my 7 free rentals a week? I just had zero interest in a movie like this in 2006 or whenever the hell it came out in Blockbuster. But, like most movies that I decide to watch on this podcast, it was free.
Oh, we like
And
free.
we do like free. And I figured to myself, okay, well, I haven't seen this, and I'll make a point to see it. I've heard some things about it. Um, in particular, I felt like I saw a movie similar to this kind of vibe. Uh, Whiplash earlier this year, which basically it's not really the same kind of vibe. But for me personally, I've worked in working situations that are kind of like this idea where you're working for a very challenging boss and you're struggling, and so that appealed to me very much like Whiplash did. So I said, okay, cool. And I love Meryl Streep.
Oh, she's great.
I'm a huge fan of Meryl Streep. She's great. And so I was like, fuck it, let's watch an easy classic. I think I've mentioned that, sometimes you just want to open up a bag of Doritos as a movie, and this is kind of that movie. It's not asking a lot. So for those who haven't seen The Devil Wears Prada, like I haven't seen The Devil Wears Prada, or I hadn't seen it for 20 years, basically the movie follows, Anne Hathaway's character as she kind of wants to be a journalist, and she lands a job as the new the editor in chief of a really high end fashion magazine in New York City. And the story really kind of follows how she is kind of like just kind of out of her element as far as being in the fashion industry, and how she deals with this really sort of ridiculous and demanding character of a boss in Meryl Streep, and just the fashion industry in general. And so that's really it. As far as what I thought about this movie going on, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Chad. It was pretty predictable. I wasn't like really stunned by this. I mean, I had obviously seen Meryl Streep's character in pop culture, and so I liked her kind of like icy thing. But I'll tell you, a movie like this, because of my own personal experience, it triggers me a little bit because I can't stand the whole give up everything in your life for like some stupid ass goal, or some stupid ass like company or anything like that. Like in my life, and working in my life, I came to the realization that it's just not about being the coolest, or getting to the top, or making the most money, or being the most famous. I just, that kind of stuff I just can't stand. And watching Anne Hathaway's sort of character arc, where She goes through her whole like sellout part, and then she really leans into the fashion industry and commercialism aspect of everything. I just kind of wasn't really feeling that whole vibe, and I kind of felt like it was just whatever. But I did like Stanley Tucci a lot.
Oh, he's always great. And
Stanley Tucci,
yeah.
everything. And so he was really awesome in this movie too. My wife was like, "Oh, tell me about what you think about the clackers and everything like that." Okay, like it was mentioned. And then I was told about the cerulean sweater, sort of monologue about how, Andy's character, or Anne Hathaway's character, Andy, like her cerulean sweater, like came from like this kind of trickle down thing of fashion and stuff. So that was kind of interesting, but as the movie went along and it kind of went along its predictable place, I wasn't really like totally blown away. I didn't really get the hype around this movie. I don't even know if there is hype around this movie. Like, I know you saw it.
So yeah, I obviously saw when it came out on DVD at Blockbuster because again, it's 7 for rental. So I'm like, fuck it. I can tell you, I haven't seen it since. And when you told me you saw this movie, I could barely remember a lot of things. I mean, I can probably remember certain scenes. I can see Meryl Streep. I remember both Anne Hathaway and Emily Blunt were great, and it was one of the like acting wise, they played their parts fine. And Stanley Tucci was great too. And FYI, I think there is a sequel coming out next year. So don't worry. Yeah, I kind of saw that. So, but I couldn't, like I said, I don't know if this is considered a classic. I mean, maybe just because it's Meryl Streep and, anything she's in is almost a classic. But I could not really remember anything like story wise. Like you said, Stella. I'm like, did she? Okay, as you explained, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. She did kind of as she, because she's into it. Yeah. So when she was finally figuring things out, yeah, she was selling up. But I couldn't remember shit about this. I couldn't. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna. I remember thinking it was a good movie, but we've said that about so many. We're like, hey, it's a good movie, but I had,
it's a one use type of movie. I mean. I just felt like there's nothing wrong with a movie like The Devil Wears Prada. It's a great sort of date movie to take your significant other to. But you're right, it's digestible, but it's immediately forgotten. There's nothing in this movie that stays with your bones outside of obviously the iconic performance of Meryl Streep as the boss in this movie. I think that's kind of what everybody takes away from it. I'm interested in what a sequel would look like because you're kind of leaning into that like social media stuff. I know, right? Cringe, but that's where we live right now in 2025. It's like the social media creep. You see that in movies, and obviously that's had a huge impact in fashion. And so where fashion is now versus how that fits in like this kind of like very TikTok world that we live in, I could be interesting. It could be something. I think it could be more like substantial than this original movie was. This is just your kind of run of the mill, fish out of water, rom-com ish, not too much, but it's one of those kind of just movies that it's a great New York movie, but it's not a movie that you're going to remember long term. And the fact that you saw this 20 years ago, you've never seen it again, and you don't remember anything about it outside of Meryl Streep, I mean, that says everything you need to know about the movie.
Correct. And yeah, I mean, I can't imagine when the sequel comes out, when it comes out for free and it's on Netflix and I got nothing, I will probably check it out because, like you, I am curious. And I mean, we can guess what happens, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like the big first one was big. I mean, I know it did well. A lot of people loved it, but 20 years later, I would love to go on the streets and be like, oh yeah, what you loved it? What was your favorite part? Meryl Streep, and that would probably be the only answer.
But, that's it. Meryl Streep's a mean boss. Like Meryl Streep's a mean boss. Yeah, they have to way has to deal with her. Oh my god, the expectations, all that stuff. But you're right. It's a movie that you eat and it immediately just slides out of you like Taco Bell. That's what this movie is.
This movie's like Taco Bell. All right, there we go. We're clipping that. Probably. We'll see what happens.
Like, yeah, that's it. It's nothing wrong with that because I love Taco Bell, as we talked about many times. It's just that there are certain movies that you watch and you go, yep, good. I was satisfied. I'm never gonna watch that again.
Yeah. So now the real question,
That's his
Soto,
movie.
as we've been trying, and I know you just kind of
God.
reinvented your list, and because you're about close to 2/3 of the way done for the year. Where, where are you putting the Devil Wears Prada on your list?
This is a great question because I haven't thought about this. It's not terrible. So there's a certain like there's a certain chunk of my list. Here we are, by the way. We talked about this and we predicted that we're right at the number where would be like, this is gonna suck when it gets this high.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be like, is it better than all 30 of these movies that I've seen?
And I think that's
Uh
why the reworking helps because again, when you sit down and you really are looking at your list as a whole, I mean, we always say it, just because we put it here, it might not say there at the end. I know we're doing this for. To me, this part though, Soto, is what I saw when we discussed this idea. Like it wasn't just about seeing the
yeah,
movies. Like I instantly said, dude, we have to rank these, and I'm like, we'll do it because your concern is like, I'm not gonna remember shit. If we did this now, and I'm
yeah,
like, okay, where's Oppenheimer? Like, but as we're doing it week by week, it helps a little bit. But yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
to me, this is the moneymaker. This is what's hilarious to me. But yes, go on. Where are we putting the Devil Wears Prada, which is your 64th movie? Where are we putting it, Soto?
You know, my gut instinct and kind of what I'm gonna go with here is that I'm gonna put this at 29.
Ooh, you went. So this is going above Barbie, and underneath the
It
Northman.
is. It
You're
is.
you're a
I,
few
I,
spots
I
higher than
thought
me.
about putting it. I thought about putting it lower than Happy Gilmore 2. Um, but Happy Gilmore 2 has some things that happen to it that are not forgivable for me as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And did I enjoy Devil Wears Prada? I did enjoy it. Did I enjoy it more than Barbie? Yeah, it was shorter than Barbie. So I like that a lot. That says a lot. I feel like 29 makes sense. This is by no means to anybody who wants to watch The Devil Wears Prada do I think that this is a bad movie, and that's why I have it ranked, kind of in the middle of the pack, literally with like in the 30 range. Um, it's a great movie to just watch. It doesn't ask a lot out of you. It's just very predictable with one really good performance. Actually, I apologize. Two really good performances because Meryl Streep is awesome and Stanley Tucci is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on that alone, that makes this movie 29 for me.
All right. I'll be honest. Like I said, when you texted me this, I was surprised. I mean, again, I know this is not a movie that you would probably like. I'm dying to see this, but obviously, when we worked at Blockbuster, we've always mentioned like we try to see everything. And I know this
Yeah,
was a
sure.
huge hit on DVDs. This was number one. Like we had a ton of
Probably why I didn't
copies.
watch.
Yeah, you're probably like
Yeah,
and like you said, it's also it's a rom com, and at that time, the mid 2000s, everything the rom
Oof,
coms were that was like the big thing,
it
just
had,
like. But this had
yeah,
it was something different to the people who saw it. So yeah, there is a little rom com to it. But you're right, Meryl Streep steals the show like she should, and she does.
yep.
And I'm curious. I am curious about a sequel. I mean, did I ask for it? No. Like I said, if it's on Netflix and I got nothing else going on, I'll check it out. Then we'll leave it at that. But yeah,
There have been worse movies that nobody asked for, aka The World Worlds. Nobody asked for that movie, and
nope.
it was created. So The Devil Wears Prada 2 is. I'm not mad about a sequel. Like I would actually like to see the idea expanded upon because in a lot of ways, I didn't really feel like this idea was fleshed out enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think because I'm going to assume both Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway return in the sequel. I could be wrong. I have not
Mhm.
looked into it. I just saw when I was obviously getting a thumbnail for this movie. I saw that there's I didn't even know until I looked. So I'm assuming they would grab those two. So to me, it's going to be a lot more Anne Hathaway. Like, did she get into this world a little too much and is almost becoming like a Meryl Streep character? And will she, So I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to see it. I shouldn't say I can't wait to see it, but I'm
I
curious.
just didn't feel like I did like I felt like there was more meat on the bone between those two characters.
Mhm.
Uh where it could have like I didn't get enough of an arc between the two of them to really give a shit. And so the idea of a sequel to me is interesting because it's like, okay, expand on that relationship. Like, what, that I just didn't feel like there was enough there. I felt it focused on, kind of the superficial ideas of the fashion industry and everything like that, but I didn't feel like there was enough between like their relationship and like what they taught each other. There was a little bit kind of like towards the end there, but I just felt that there was more opportunity to kind of dive deeper into that. I know that whoever is making the Devil Wears Prada 2 is not thinking like I am about that, to be like, oh, let's dive deeper into the relationship and complexities. They're just trying to probably make more money and just kind of, try to capture that magic again. But I just felt that I was very interested in that dynamic between them, and I don't think that it was fleshed out enough.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been too long for me to remember anyway, so I'm going to agree with you. It has. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I couldn't tell
same
you.
with you.
Soda's opinion's right on the Devil Wears Prada. It's been 20 years since I saw it, so.
Mhm.
But Soda, let me get to my first movie. And kind of like you, a lot of times when I do not have a plan, I go on Tubi, I go on Netflix, whatever it might be. I think actually my next movie came off of Peacock. And I see a movie that's like around not even 90 minutes. And I kind of read the quick synopsis and I'm like, sold. And I don't care. I'm like, so I don't know what drew me to this movie, Soto. I think it kind of was in maybe a suggestion, because I did see this on Peacock. But I ended up seeing the 2020 film. Now, this movie was actually made earlier, but it got delayed because of
Of
mass
course.
shootings. Well,
Oh
yeah,
God.
because when you hear the content, you'll understand it was supposed to come out in theaters in like 2019. But anyhow, I saw the 2020 movie The Hunt. Now, in the 90s, Soto, I don't know if you saw this movie as much as I did. There's a movie called Surviving the Game with Ice-T, Gary Busey, Charles S. Dutton. It was on TV a lot, so I watched it. And basically, Gary
I did see
Busey,
it.
yeah, and they basically have Ice-T, who's kind of a homeless man. They pay him money. He
Oh
doesn't know what's
yeah.
going on,
Yes.
and he's out in the woods, and he realizes, oh, this group of people is just hunting him. So and I watched the shit out of it. Again, I think it was just always on. So I watched it. This movie has a similar feel because it's the same idea. This movie has Emma Roberts. This movie also has Hilary Swank. The
Oh.
idea is, yes, a bunch of people are brought to this undisclosed location and they're being hunted. So that's just quick premise of the story. Less than 90 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I kind of like the battle royale. I like battle royales. We talked
That's
about
your
Hunger
vibe.
Games.
That's what I was. That's I texted you and I'm like, I wasn't surprised because that's your vibe. That is such a you like movie to
No, I
watch.
know.
Like
So,
it just is. Like
so
people are in a situation they need to survive. That's a Chad movie.
it is, and basically all my movies are gonna be like that. But we'll get to my other two shortly. So anyhow, this movie kind of starts out, and you see a bunch of people on a text thread. You don't see anyone yet, and as you know they're friends, and they're talking about this and that and joking. You kind of get the vibe that they're rich, and from a corporate world. And then one makes a joke about, oh, I can't wait till this weekend, so we can go hunting. And one person's like, oh, we're not supposed to talk about that in text. Blah 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 blah. So it kind of starts off with this weird text that's going on. Then it cuts to a plane. And again, we're in first class. And, people are ordering their champagne. You see all these rich people. And this one guy comes from where Coach is. He's like, what's going on? What was happening? And basically, the plane, the rich people, they have all the people they're hunting in the back of the plane. They're knocked out. This guy woke up early. So one's a
God.
doctor that he's trying to sedate him, but obviously this guy is flipping out because he doesn't know how the fuck he got on his plane. He doesn't know how any of these people are on. And eventually, Hilary Swank comes from the front. She takes off her high heels and basically stabs the guy in the eye with her high heel, pulls it out.
Oh my
I
God.
sock it up. So I'm like, oh, a little brutality here. I will admit, it's hard to do the pull out eye, and it looked like good. I'm sure, unless you get like Tom Savini and go back to horror. So it was a little cheesy, but it kind of it put the shock value in there. You're like, oh, okay, this is the kind of movie you get into. And then all of a sudden they're open field and we're focused on Emma Roberts. She has basically this mouth gag on her, which has a padlock. She's got zip tied, and she realizes other people, they're all kind of waking up. And obviously they help each other out. They find this big box that has weapons in it and padlocks, and they're unlocking it, each other. And they're like, how did you get here? Who are you? They're it's kind of like quick introductions. And so basically, one guy's trying to give her a gun because they know something fucked up is happening. And she's like, oh, I don't shoot guns. Guns aren't for me. And the guy looks at her like, can you do this? And he does it. She's like, yes. I'm like, you can use a gun. Like, he knows. Like, just take the gun, bitch. And this guy comes up to her, and so they're kind of chatting, this and that. And all of a sudden, everyone's being fired at. And so now the shit is going on. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Where's that coming from? And next thing you know, Emma Roberts' head is blown off. She was barely in this movie.
God, no.
I was like,
Whoa.
I kind of put a shock value on me. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, because she was on the cover, this and that. And I was like, oh, is this like a Drew Barrymore and Scream kind of thing? And so the guy that was with her talking to her, who looks like the lead guy from Twisters, but kind of the same vibe, he's running away. He sees this girl fall into like a pit of spikes, and he's trying to help her out. And he's like, come on, let's go. And then a bomb blows up, and he's dead, and she goes back. And Soto, I don't know who the main character is of the movie in the first 15 minutes. Because everyone that they start kind of relying and showing on, then this kind of nerd guy comes, and he goes to a gas station, but turns out this gas station people are in on it too. So I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? Who am I rooting for? Who's left? Because I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Finally, we end up with this one woman who we quickly... first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, like, you think, okay, again, Emma Roberts looks like the main character. You know her. She's I won't say big name, but she's a relatively known name. And yeah, when she died in the first few minutes, I'm like, oh shit. And then everyone's just dying. Like, they're falling. Like, they make it seem like this person's a hero, and then they die instantly. Now, I've seen some movies where they've done this. Obviously I mentioned Droop, where that was done perfectly. There's a movie called Feast, which is a horror movie, kind of bad, cheesy movie, but they kind of, make this guy seem like he's the lead guy, and he's going to, he's big, he's muscly, and he dies instantly. And I laugh because the way that was more of a comedy, but this one, I'm like, I could not focus. I'm like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Who's left? But as I was about to say, we did see a woman in the background. She did not even go for the gun. She found a way to unlock herself. You could tell, like, this woman's experienced at something. And so she's kind of the main character. Her name's Crystal. And she gets to the gas station after everyone's been shot up, but they clean it up real quick. And, she's like, can I have a pack of smokes? And, so it's an old couple, and they're talking, like, just kind of nonchalant, because she doesn't know the old couple are part of this. And she's just like, where am I? And she's like, oh, you're in Arkansas. And we find out, she was from like California, Emma Roberts. So they're all from parts of the United States. And then she's like, how much for the cigarettes? And old lady's like, $10. And then Crystal just fucking grabs like something off the shelf, beats her head in, and they say, like, Arkansas cigarettes do not cost $10 in Arkansas. Like, somehow she just knows, like, it's all fucked up.
They don't.
No. I mean, now again.
That was dead giveaway, because they're like $2 in the South. I've been there.
Yeah. So yeah, you find out. Yeah. So anyhow, she's just now trying to survive. She's trying to figure out. Obviously there's still a couple, because basically 12 people brought to the island, and now there's only like 2 or 3 people left. No one that's memorable. But so this movie really becomes a satire on basically political. Like the rights and the lefts, this and that. Because the ironic thing about this is a lot of movies like this, like I mentioned, Surviving the Game, it's really like the right-wing people, because the gun wielding and stuff like that, more pro that. They're the ones hunting people down. Whereas this, it's the other way around. So all those people in the chat, the funny thing about this whole thing, Soto, is they don't usually do this. They were actually joking, and they are basically more from the left. And yes, their text got leaked, and everyone on the internet was like, "Oh my God, these people are hunting people!" Like, created a conspiracy theory to where a lot of these people's lives got ruined, though they didn't do this. So they're like, "Well, fuck this. If these people are thinking of this of us, why don't we just do this for real?" So they hired, you find the backstory. They hired a guy to teach him how to kill. So I'm like, this is fucking stupid. This is, and now I'm like, I'm rooting for this woman, Crystal, who's like the one real survivor, but she's just a deadpan actress. Like, she's just like nonchalant, doesn't care. So like, I know she's now who I'm rooting for, but I'm like, do I really want to root for her? Like, so this movie just, there was something here. And they said, fuck that. No, let's make a statement. And Hilary Swank's kind of the leader of this group. Like I mentioned, you kind of see her quickly. And obviously, yeah, there is kind of, I hate to say it, basically the manor. She's like, it was just a 3-bedroom house that I bought in Vermont. She's like, that's not the manor. We don't, she basically, that's how it all started. Like, but yeah, this movie tried to get political and it wasn't even good. And I was kind of vastly disappointed. I was happy when the movie ended. So I'll be honest,
Premise.
the premise was, like I said, I like movies that have substance, like something a little different. Yeah, this movie has been done. I mentioned Surviving the Game. I like, even Hunger Games, the hunting, stuff like that. But yeah, when you kill off every character you think you should be rooting for, and I get the joke, like, oh, you don't know who, to root for. And yeah, it's just like, okay, and I was kind of bummed. I do like Emma Roberts and some of the things she does. And I do like Hilary Swank. She's not in this enough. She's really just mainly in the beginning and the end. So she's like that kind of, the main actress, the big actress. But Soto, yeah, this movie just missed. I mean, do
Wow.
not get me wrong. Some of the kills were fantastic. Like, because I mentioned
Mhm.
the guy that, because obviously they're doing just like shotguns to the head, this and that, like brutal fight scenes. But it wasn't enough. Like, there was nothing that I gave a shit about any of these characters. Um, and funny thing is, I'm going to repeat that line for a movie down the line. Just,
Mm.
I'm just telling you that right now. You're going to hear a very similar review for something that's going to be coming up. But yeah, no, so I was disappointed because, like I said, I like you said, it is my vibe. Movies that like circle, just where I am like, okay, just what's going on. I wanted a popcorn movie. I wasn't expecting much. I really got nothing at all. So yeah, no, I was disappointed. I was like, oh god, because I just felt like this could have been so much more. The
But
kills
you
were the
like being thrown into like you like being thrown in a situation that doesn't make any sense and that you have to like parse out and figure out and use clues. So you like from what I've noticed for you, obviously we'll talk about Lost, but you like actively being part of like what the experience
so
is.
Soto. I want you to remember what you just said right now and hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought for my dual review. I'm dead serious.
Fantastic.
This is going to be hilarious. But for me, again, going back to the hunt, um, I thought again the premise is there. Again because I love surviving the game, and that was just 4 or 5 people hunting one
Classic.
guy. This was like
Yeah.
a bunch of people. So the similarities are there. But when they try to make this like a political thing or just be like even like the old couple because before you realize they're you kind of know they're in it, they're like, well, they have a right to have guns too. Did you really shoot first or did they? And you're like, fuck you. I was so pissed.
Jesus.
But the kills were fun. Like I said, I mean, I've said this about a couple things, like, and that's the only thing. So where do I rank this? It's close to the bottom. I mean, I won't say close to the bottom because it's not where the shit is. Because like pro wrestlers versus zombies, that's like the line that and below is the shit. But yeah, I put this at number 53. I actually put this under Smile, and I hated Smile. This is
Wow.
over. What is this over? The Funhouse, because I was more my reasoning is like I said. Smile's story was there. I just think it
You
was
didn't
too
like
slow.
Smile either, I
No,
remember.
I just thought it was just too slow. I might see Smile too, just out of curiosity. The Funhouse, because I love the book, I just felt the hard part is the movie had really no substance. Even the kills were bad. This one, at least, like I said, the kills were decent.
Yeah.
Because they put some money behind this, and yeah, there were some shootings that got made to get pushed back, and it didn't do well. And I don't look at it like that, but to me, I don't mind a good political satire. In this kind of movie, it just didn't work. And like I said, when they're trying to do too much, it was just like, no, not for me. The best part was it was over. Like it's one of those movies. So to like, yeah, I saw it now, and a few movies on my list. In 5 years' time, I'm gonna forget about it, and you'll be like, no one's gonna be talking about the hell. No one's probably talking about it now. I don't even know if you heard of the hunt when I mentioned it to you, if you knew
No.
anything about it. So
Nope.
yeah, again, Hillary Swank probably is the best part, and she's in the beginning and the end, and that's about it. But
Thanks.
it was bad. But Soto, a lot of things you said, I want you to hold on to that when we get to
Okay.
my next, and you're gonna laugh why. So, but let's
Mhm.
change. Let's go to your second movie. I think you continue. Is this a horror movie or a horror comedy? I didn't really fully look into it because
Yeah.
but I've seen some of the pictures. I was like, okay, title made me think horror, but I'm like, I don't know anymore. Especially when I saw one actor that's in it, which I'm sure you'll get to. But
Yeah.
Soto, tell
And
me
he's
all
the
about your
yeah.
second movie.
Well, I picked this one randomly because it had Bill Murray, and I didn't really know what it was about. Again, it was an hour and a half, I believe. But I was trying to pick a movie with my wife, and we were trying to figure out what to watch, and we looked this, and I was like, okay, Bill Murray, Adam Driver, like, okay, like, let's see what's up. Little did I know that this movie is also directed by Jim Jarmusch, who I had seen his earlier movie, the movie Only Lovers Left Alive,
Oh yeah.
which is my number 20 movie. So Jim Jarmusch also directed Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, Dead Man, with Johnny Depp. Like, so he's a very niche like director, like big independent director and everything. I didn't know I walked into this, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't really wasn't I wasn't it's one of those movies where I just hit play, but I wasn't expecting anything. I just wanted to see like a funny movie is with Bill Murray and Adam Driver being like, local police. I didn't really think much of it. I would very much like Only Lovers Left Alive. I would not recommend this movie to anybody. I well, not what I'm saying. I'm getting there, but the movie is The Dead Don't Die. It's 2019, and it's basically instead of vampires of Jim Jarmusch's like Only Lovers Left Alive, it's zombies.
Okay.
And you are 100% right. It's a comedy horror, and it's kind of quirky. Basically, there's in this local town, there's a zombie outbreak. The so not to get political, but there's fracking going on in the polar ice caps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people on the news being like, "Oh, that's fake news. Like that's not happening. Like it's not causing earthquakes." But the polar fracking actually causes the Earth's rotation to get fucked up, which causes zombies? Question mark.
Question mark. Okay.
So obviously, it's just it's more of a kind of a horror comedy thing. It's got social commentary on like climate change, everything like that, and people stumbling about like the apocalypse, kind of like very apathetic and whatnot. So, and Bill Murray does apathetic really well, and so super quirky. There were parts of this that I really laughed at, and then there's a country song called "The Dead Don't Die," which keeps playing, and Adam Driver, for example, in a scene, goes to Bill Murray and is like, he puts the CD in the car, and The Dead Don't Die play. And Bill Murray's like, "Why does this song sound so familiar?" And Adam Driver looks at him and goes, "Because it's the theme song." Okay, so that's like the vibe
Oh god.
of this
Yeah.
movie. You know what I mean? Right. So you can kind of understand it. So it's not for everybody because when I saw the cast list and it was huge, and you see a huge cast list with a bunch of people, you know that they're all going to die, right? This is like the Mars Attacks rule. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is a bunch of famous people getting together, being in a Jim Jarmusch zombie movie, and they're just going to die and have fun. And that's essentially what this was. Like Iggy Pop is in this. He ends up being a zombie, eating somebody. Um, Adam Driver keeps saying, "I don't think this is gonna end badly" the whole time, like, and eventually, like towards the end, Bill Murray and him are trapped in a car around zombies, and Bill Murray's like, "How do you know that this is gonna end badly?" And Adam Driver's like, "Because I read the script." And Bill Murray's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I read the whole script." He's like, "Oh, well, Jim only sent me the scenes that we're in." And Adam Driver's like, "Well, okay, that's I don't know what to tell you, but this is not going to end well." So it's like weird, kind of quirky, self-referential. And if you're not into it, you would totally hate this movie. Does that make sense?
I do, and
Like you would be like, I don't. If you're not in with the joke, it's like this movie is just going to be really dumb to you.
because this kind of movie and what you said, especially breaking the fourth wall, Deadpool aside, is very, very hard to pull off. Now, doing a one-time thing, and I'll quickly reference Ferris Bueller, that's fine,
Yeah.
especially, but when it's kind of part of the story like this, I mean, obviously I haven't seen it, but yeah, I can see why some people might have trouble with it, or not like it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not for everybody.
but breaking the fourth wall, it has to be done for the right reasons, and so I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about in this kind of movie, but we just, go
Well,
with the flow sometimes.
it's super quirky. Like it's super quirky, and you kind of have to be in on the joke. And to your point, that's not for everybody. Like a movie should just be like when I was talking about Only Lovers Left Alive, and I talked about how it was a vibe kind of a movie. How I didn't really like care that it didn't adhere to the that I just like the overall vibe. And I said the same thing. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Mhm.
This movie is kind of the same vibe. It's like if you like Jim Jarmusch and you like these actors, you'll like this. You'll enjoy this movie. Sarah was like, "This is a 10 out of 10." She's like, she enjoyed the entire experience. Like Selena Gomez is in this. With Austin Butler and stuff. Like they make like cameos. So it's got if you're into the self-referential and you get the joke, you'll enjoy this movie. But if you don't know Jim Jarmusch and you don't know it and you don't care about these actors, like you're gonna think this is really dumb. And it's not a movie that has. It's super predictable. Obviously, it breaks the fourth wall and talks about the movie being a movie. So that kind of takes you out of it. And all the zombies are walking around and they're like saying the words that they were obsessed with. So they're like Wi-Fi or coffee. Like they like. So it's like this weird like commentary on American commercialism, whatever. But it's done in a cute way. So, but if you don't like it, you're not going to like this movie. So, like I said, I would not recommend this movie to anybody. But I personally enjoyed it, if that makes sense.
And that's good. And that's all that matters. You and your wife, you both enjoyed
Mhm.
the movie. But
Yep.
Soto,
Yeah. So,
as we've been asking,
yeah.
as you're looking through your long, long ass list,
I know.
getting to
I hate this
2/3,
movie.
because you'll be at the end of this episode, you'll be officially 2/3 of the way done at 66. Because,
Mhm.
66, 67. But
Mhm.
where are you putting the Dead Don't Die?
So I'm going to put the Dead Don't Die right now. I'm going to put it pretty comfortably under Murder Mystery at 36 and just ahead of Totally Killer. I feel like that's a good place for it, to be quite honest with you. I enjoyed this movie. I didn't enjoy it like a lot, and I don't think I would ever see it again, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Murder Mystery was super cliche, but because Adam Sandler's chemistry with Jennifer Aniston is great, that made the movie good, right? So
Correct.
even if a movie story sucks, if the performances are good, as you know, as a former Blockbuster employee, people don't give a fuck. They just are like, oh, okay, Jim Carrey's in this. I want to watch this. Okay, it's not that great. I don't care. I'm here to watch Jim Carrey. So I would put this very comfortably at 36.
Awesome. I mean, technically, that's kind of middle of the road for you now. I mean, we put somewhere at 36 like 2 months ago. That would be a piece of shit movie. That's funny saying this
No,
movie is like number 36. That's good.
middle of
But
the road, man. I enjoyed it. My wife and I both enjoyed it. We had a good time watching it. When the credits rolled, I wasn't mad. I know it's a low bar, but it was perfectly fine. If you're into quirky kind of all-star cast zombie movies, and it's free, it's pre-COVID. Um, I had a few good chuckles off this. I really like Adam Driver as well, and I thought he was really funny in this.
better than Kylo Ren.
He actually had a Star Wars keychain in this, and he gave it to Tilda Swinton, who's also in this because she was in Only Lovers Left Alive. She plays like a mortician that's also an alien that uses a samurai sword. That's in this movie, by the way.
Whoa.
But yeah, Adam Driver gives her his keys, and it has like a not Death Star. I'm sorry, Star Destroyer on it, and she's like, "Ooh, Star Wars. That's good fiction." And I was like, "Hee hee ha ha." So I don't know.
Yeah.
The dead don't die.
You were in on the joke.
I again, I wasn't mad when it ended. It was fine, and I love Bill Murray. And honestly, when I think of zombie movies now, I do think of Bill Murray because he has one of the single greatest zombie performances in any zombie movie ever in Zombieland. So that scene alone like when it happened, when Woody Harrelson shot him, I laughed so hard that I had to pause it because I was literally like I couldn't breathe. It was so unexpected and great, and just Bill Murray's deadpan reaction to it. Oh my god, dude, just legendary, legendary. I was like, oh my god, I was beside myself.
Oh, well, Soto, I'm gonna kind of change the pace a little bit, and I'm gonna do
You
something
sure are.
that we've never done. Um, I'm in a weird way, gonna combine two movies into one review. It kind of makes
Ooh.
sense, but obviously, I'm still ranking them separately.
Uh
We're
huh.
gonna release in one video because it's gonna make sense.
Hmm.
So again, I was on Tubi or whatnot and looking for a short movie, and the movie Wreck, or Record, because it's basically the red dot symbol Wreck, popped up, and I looked at that and I'm like, I remember seeing Quarantine. I'm like, I don't know if I ever actually saw the Spanish foreign film, the original, basically.
Hmm.
And I was like, and I've seen podcasts that talked about the two. So in a weird way, I knew a lot about this movie, but I'm like, I haven't seen it. And then I kind of realized I'm like, there's fucking four of them. I kind of knew
Oh
there's a
god.
sequel, but I did not realize this went off into like whatever. So I'm like, all right, let me just see what the original one's like. I vaguely remember Quarantine a bit. I kind of just remember the premise. But I'm like, technically this is new. So I popped it in. Now, this movie came out in 2007, and as I said, I watch movies for the most part, foreign movies with subtitles. I like trying to at least get the actors. I think more emotion comes out of them. Sometimes I
Hmm.
will watch some things in dubbed if need be, especially if I'm watching something with my wife. But for the most part, I go subtitles, and I'm just kind of saying this. This came out in 2007, kind of when I feel like a lot of and I hate to use the word found footage, but that idea of
Hmm.
like
It's a
everything
thing.
about this is basically behind the camera, and I say that because the movie Wreck, and I think the reason why I was kind of into this or into Quarantine as well is because it follows a news reporter, Angela, and she's kind of doing this. It's not live, but she's kind of putting together a piece. She's staying over at like a firehouse, a fire station, and basically what do firemen do, and she's kind of creating the piece, and it's kind of a slow night, and she kind of even jokes, I hope something a fire happens, like I don't hope a fire happens, but something. And she's doing interviews, and her and a cameraman are talking to everyone, blah blah. So yes, you kind of get to know the characters, and I will tell you this right now, Soto. Uh, yeah, the actress Angela just definitely carries this movie. She has the presence. I'm like, this is good. I'm into this character. This is great. And then again, going to what you. So obviously, there's a call at an apartment building. A disturbance, and she gets excited, and her and the cameraman go, and basically they hear, yeah, there's this woman's been screaming, blah blah blah. We don't know what's going on, and they go in. Now, this whole movie pretty much takes place in this apartment building. So I've said this countless times, Soto, in a lot of movies. I love a lot of
Hmm.
simplicity. It takes place in one place.
You do.
Just give me the characters, give me the story,
Mhm.
and give me a reason why. And what they find out is, as they're going up, she's following, a few of the firemen. This older woman. The best way I can explain it, Soto, is anyone that's seen 28 Days, 28 Weeks Later, stuff like that, you don't know what's going on, but it's like she's. I don't want to say zombie because zombies are technically slow, but I would say something rage, and she's going crazy, and she starts attacking the firemen. Obviously everyone's flipping out. In the midst of this, what they don't realize is the whole outside they've been put on quarantine. Police and everything outside have sealed off the buildings, basically even telling them, "Hey, do not go near the windows. You try to escape, we will shoot you." So you're like, "Oh shit." So now this whole movie basically comes, how do they survive? Will they get out? And basically, because kind of like zombies, this is only passed through saliva, not airborne or anything like that. But you meet a lot of the
Uh,
people in the apartment building.
rules.
Yeah, well, yeah, it rules because again, every zombie movie, every kind of they kind of different rules and this and that. But basically, they introduce that because they don't need to wear why they don't wear masks, which that will become. We're going to talk about when I get to the second one. But anyhow, so yes,
Mhm.
obviously now that more and more people get bit and things like that, the place gets more infested. They don't know what's going on. And back to what something you said earlier, it's like, okay, you're trying to figure this out. You're feeling, you're in this with this character because she, again, though there's a lot of side characters who you see are memorable, but she carries this film. And what I like about it, it's not like she's a kick-ass. She's not like an Ellen Ripley, a Sarah Connor. She's scared. She, for lack of better terms, a damsel in distress, but she doesn't need help. She just like, what the fuck can we do? Record everything. This does follow those tropes that we've seen in a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
But she, you don't know what's going on, and so obviously people get killed one by one, blah blah blah, until it's just like her and the cameraman, and they're in some room, and he has the night vision on the cameras, and they basically are like in like the penthouse where supposedly like the original zombie thing was, like someone was keeping her up there, but they don't know why. But they can't, the zombie thing can't see them, but through night vision. And like about terms, the cameraman dies, and Angela gets pulled away in the dark, and that's the end of the movie. You're like, oh shit. So you kind of like, so this movie was very intense. Some of these kills, there was jump scares in this that got me. Like, damn, because again, you're in a calm moment, and that's when, they hit you with like some random death that's off screen or something that's right off to the side that you don't see coming. And that's when it's done right. It's not for the sake of jump scares, because again, they're in an apartment building. And so you think about stairs, and there's like almost that gap in the middle. So it's like when the shit has already kind of starting to hit the fan, they're all on the bottom floor. They can't escape the front door. Like they're all at the front door. Like, you just gotta just stay inside until we figure things out. You can't come out here, blah, blah, blah. We gotta, and as they're all discussing what to do, and they're just talking to each other, they don't want to go upstairs. One of the firemen who was with that woman just all of a sudden falls flat, blood everywhere. And you just don't see it coming. And I love that because, again, jump scares. And so this is my type of movie. I was in it. I liked it. It wasn't, the only cheesy part was, sometimes I'm like, dude, put down the fucking camera and either help. Like, I understand what it's trying to do, but in my mind, if like, again, me and you were in that situation, it's just like, no, now's the time to fucking drop the camera. I don't need to record anything, bitch. I need to live too. But for the most part, like I said, it wasn't like, they weren't doing it, making it. I go to Blair Witch a lot, like, oh, it looked bad. It was kind of well shot, very dark, but I was in it. So yeah, I liked it so much so that I actually made it. Well, I say so much so, but I ranked this at, I think, number 26. It's right above kind of Bad Words. Ooh. And this is kind of like a tough thing. It was just a well-told story for this, because you're trying to figure it out. Obviously, you're like, okay, no one survived. That's just the way things end. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm going to watch Rec 2. Now, Rec 2 takes place literally right after the first one. This came out in 2009.
Oh, good.
So it follows a SWAT team who's going into the building. Now, like almost like an hour later after this. So you're following the SWAT team. Now, for some reason, one of the SWAT members has a big hunk camera, and they're telling them, we need to record everything. But the cool thing is their helmets, I mean, again, the rules, they have like these small cameras on them. So you almost, that's how they kind of go to different shots. And they're going in with the doctor who is going to maintain this infection. Hard part about this, Soto, it's two things. One, there is no real introduction to any of these characters. Now, I say Angela, she carried that film. We kind of got to know her a little bit as she was interviewing the firehouse. Again, great. She was a great actress, and it's hard for, even though there's a lot of other side characters, it was like, okay, I did not care about a single, I couldn't even tell you one of their fucking names. And the guy who's the doctor, it was like, he was such a dick. Like, well, I really hope he fucking dies because, he's being an asshole because, which I'll get to. So I'm like, so already I am not interested in any character. I'm like, I'm going in. This is where Rec 2 loses me, Soto. So they get in there and obviously, now it's a little bit more calmer. You kind of see, and I'm kind of glad I watched it back because I'm like, oh yeah, that's where this woman was handcuffed and she die, so they really recreated that, again, it all takes place in this apartment building. You come to find out this doctor is there because he wants the blood sample. We find out that, he's not totally a doctor. He's also a priest. I guess this thing has anything to do with zombies. It's demonic. So there's this whole religious aspect to it, but he wants the blood because what they found out is like if he can get the blood, he knows how they can create the antidote. But he's also the only one who can let the SWAT team out. They will not, because they get basically quarantined in. And he's like, until we get this, none of you are leaving. So when they find out, they can't. They're pissed because they can't even leave, and this guy has lied to them. But yeah, so obviously now it becomes into this whole religious thing, and now like that somehow the head, whatever you want to call it, demon, anyone that they repossessed or basically been in, he can talk through. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? There's kids.
It's a virus.
It was that was the thing with the first one. It was just some virus made. Again, I go to 28 days later.
At least realistic.
20 week, yeah, and like, okay, survive the day, get out. And then somehow a group of kids actually snuck into the building because there was a way through the sewer system. They were trying to follow. There was actually a dad of like a husband and father of like someone from the first movie who was out getting medicine. So they actually bring his character in this one. He's trying to, like, a fireman's trying to sneak him because they don't exactly know what's going on yet. And so these kids are, so I'm like, why? More useless characters. Again, no one I know, but yeah, Demon can talk through anyone that's infected. And is looking at the praise base saying, yeah, you're not going to get me, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. So yeah, they go to the penthouse where the woman, that zombie that they saw in the first film, in the final scene, is basically like Project X, or the original, whatever you want to call it. And turns out that Angela from the first film actually survived. Because all you really saw in the first film is she got dragged away, which you assume she died. But somehow they find her, she's holding onto the camera, she's still. And the good thing is, like, again, she's not turning into Sarah Connor and Ella Ripley. She's still scared out of her mouth, clutching like the camera, like she, basically she's been hiding this whole time. And I love that because, again, they're not making, she doesn't need that character arc. Like, she can all of a sudden be a badass and kill things, So yeah, but Soto, like I said, I mean, I was happy to see the Angela character, but it was kind of very close to the final third and the final act, and the movie just made me so sad. The first film did. I was just like, oh, because again, all the other characters, the SWAT teams, as they're dying, I'm like, well, I don't care. Why? Who is he? And like I said, turns out they show the final, and I'm gonna just spoil this. Not like you're gonna see Rec 2
right ahead.
But basically, you find out that Angela technically is possessed. Like the demon got her, but instead of like killing her, she spit out this weird fucking worm into her mouth that went into her. Like, it was actually kind of gross. I will admit that. And then kind of got her and possessed her. So the end scene is her on top of the doctor after you see that scene, and she's like, the doctor's like, I'm not gonna let you out. And she's like, you realize I don't need you anymore. Kills him, gets on the thing, and it's like, in his voice, because again, she can mimic any voice that she kills and stuff like that. It's just like, I got the sample. I'm ready to get. One woman coming out. They're like, "Are you leaving?" Her as him, like, "No, I got bit. I'm staying behind. Just let the woman out." And that's how it kind of ends. So I don't know how that leads into Rec 3 and 4. I really don't care at this point. I'm like, why do we have to go all religious? Yes, there is 4 total. I don't know. Again, maybe I'll go down the rabbit hole. I was just like, because I love the first one. And I've said this, movies like, and I know you're not a fan of Saw, but things that take place in one little area. I've said this about the movie Circle, which we kind of brought up a couple times. Elevator, Devil, there's just things. And yes, I know a lot of people can't handle it. A movie called Unknown. I don't know if you ever saw that. Not the one with Liam Neeson. There is an Unknown. I would say definitely that's a great Greg Kinnear, Jim Caviezel, Joe Pantoliano, just like great cast. But that takes place in one warehouse. Basically, a bunch of guys wake up with no memory of who they are, how they got there. A couple are handcuffed, and some aren't. Like, what the fuck happened? That was like I said, if you find that, see that. So I will suggest that to anyone. But I love the first. Well, I say love the first one, but the first one was good. It got my interest. It did what it needed to do. But yeah, second one, no memorable characters. Just changed the whole fucking story. And I was like, nope, I am out. So yeah, where I rank this is going even lower. Not as much lower as The Hunt, but a little bit lower. Because again, the kills were fun. Kind of like the first one, they obviously kind of budgeted up a little bit, but the story wasn't there. It's 56. It's underneath the Funhouse. We're getting to the, kind of the really bad stuff. So I kind of put that low. Yeah. This might go lower. Again, I'm just looking at everything underneath it. I'm like, I just feel like they can't go above this, but you know how we
Yeah.
change. But yeah, no, I mean, first one, I would I don't remember Quarantine. I mean, I'm sure, I think it's pretty well, I don't want to say shot for shot, but very similar. So, like I said, the first Quarantine probably is just as good as Wreck, but like I said, the actress I think holds. So if you like foreign films, check out the first one. Just pretend there's nothing else after that. And I'll leave that at that. Wreck 2 is just garbage. It's like
I mean,
there's like six paranormal activities or something like that.
oh my God.
I saw the first
Yes.
four, and I don't know why.
You saw four of them? I mean, it looks like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
So
it's good. It was,
it looked
yeah.
like it was a big hit.
Yeah, and like I said, I even think they Americanized it for Quarantine because it's pretty much the same movie. Again, I don't remember it, but again, it was well done. It has the independent film feel, which I like.
Mhm.
Small. I don't need a big budget movie, and yeah, you are in it. And like I said, the horror is there and the jump scares are there. I kind of knew. I'm like, well, a lot of these people are gonna die, and then just shit would happen. Like, damn. Um, so yeah, I would recommend Wreck to anyone, especially as long as you don't mind foreign films. I get some people don't, but I'm like, dub it. Just end it there. Do not continue. Now, knowing what I've done in some of the movies I've seen on Tubi, I don't know. 3 and 4 might happen just to happen and just be like, what? But hold on. So
God.
let me put it this way before we get to your final movie.
Sharkenstein.
Let me just tell you. Hold on a sec. So when movies get bad when they start so Rec 3 is called Rec 3 Genesis, and then Rec 4 is called
Oh,
Rec 4 Apocalypse.
of course it is.
Yeah, and oh wow, Angela returns. Of course she returns in Rec 4. I didn't see her quickly in the cast of Rec 3. So I don't know. Again, I know me, and I've watched bad movies. We've done this on the list. We've talked about some of
Sure
them.
have.
I don't ever
Yep.
plan on it, but there's other bad movies I want to see first, like the Popeyes and the Winnie the Poohs and shit like that. So yeah,
Oh God.
I'm
I saw
curious.
that pop up.
I'm curious, but let's get away. But yeah, I saw those two movies. Um, anyone
Wow.
see the first Wreck? If you want a good, low budget horror movie, we're trying to, I know I kind of spoil things, but you kind of can, it's going in that direction basically. Like there's no hope. But it's still, like I said, for an independent film or a small film, it was well done.
Yeah.
So, but that's where I stand.
Nice. 2007. Wow.
It is. It was decent. So, but Soto, you got one more film. You actually watched 3 this week. Like it's
One
been a
more.
while since you watched
I
3
did.
in a week. I don't know how long it's been. So,
Did
what
not
was your
plan it.
final? This
Didn't
one
plan
looks.
it.
We've talked a lot of horror. I guess you start off with Devil Wears Prada, horror of the boss. But this one looks very happy. I don't know if it ends up happy, but I got to hear about this one. I just who's in it. You're like, oh God, this isn't
Man.
good, is it? All right, Soto, go ahead. Tell me what.
No. There's a reason I'm saying, oh man, but my next movie of my trilogy of, I'm pretty sure pre-COVID movies that I watched last week. This is a movie that I don't remember hearing about or I had no idea about at all, but it's called The Big Year. Came out in 2011. Stars Steve Martin, Jack Black, and Owen Wilson. Now, why I'm saying oh man is because you the main theme of this movie
Mm-hmm.
feel like is so foreign to you because we've had discussions before where you're like, I think I've asked you, I'm like, do you even hear the birds outside when you're like walking around? You're like, I don't, because you're in your mind, if it doesn't exist, if you don't care about it, it does not exist. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like birds, how do you feel about them? Like the ones that are outside just when you're going out to your car.
They're just doing their thing. I don't mind them.
But like you don't really think about it. Like
Well,
obviously you're doing your poster route and everything, but you don't think about birds, do you?
how many of us truly think about birds, though? I mean, I know people have Actually, it's funny. Sorry, so you.
How many of us
I
truly
say
think
that as
about
my wife
birds,
is my
Pat?
wife has put like a bird
I
feeder
do.
and a bird bath out there because there's some birds and they won't use it and she gets pissed at them. She's like, just use the fucking bird bath. It's there for you guys. Yeah. So
Chad,
yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
So
tell you right now, I love birds. I'm a
I know
big
Cardinals.
bird
We
guy.
talked about this.
I go outside. I have an app called Merlin that identifies bird calls. I go and I actively watch birds. I have a pair of socks that says I'm a bird dad because, like, in my last job, everybody knew that I love birds, so they got me all this sort of bird stuff, bird watching. They got me a book on identifying birds around here. I got like a bird call thing. So like I love birds. When I go outside and I'm going out for a walk, like I'm actively trying to identify birds and their bird calls. And I can, for the most part, do a decent amount. But I am huge into birds. This only happened to me as I got older. It's like an internet joke, of course, but like you become one kind of person in your 40s. But I love birds. When I go outside, I'm very acutely aware of what birds are singing and what birds are talking. In the morning, I know what kind of birds come out, and I know what kind of birds come out in twilight. I love birds. You, I know you do not share this interest of birds
No,
that
I
I
don't.
have.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't.
I mean, you're like, I don't.
I mean,
So,
when I see like it's something flying up above, like an eagle or something, like, oh, oh, that's very majestic, and then I go
sure.
about my day. Like, do not get me
Yeah,
wrong.
but
It's
you're
not
not
like
like, oh,
I do
you're
not
not like,
share
oh,
the
black
same
cap
passion.
chickadee. Right. You're like, oh, black cap chickadee or house sparrow or blue jay or grackle
I
or
know what a
chimney
blue
swift.
jay
Like,
is.
you
You
know,
got me there. Yes, I think
yes,
I'm
you
one for
do.
four there. All right.
You
Anyhow,
do. So a big year is when you basically decide that you're going to watch as many birds as possible and identify them. And then it's like recorded. And so these three characters like have different motivations for trying to basically see and identify as many as they can for a year. And I know your brain is already like, what the
no,
fuck?
that ain't happening. I know where we're going. I'm like, no. Soto, you can record yourself, and I will happily put it on the channel. Just give me the footage. I will do that for you. It won't take much. I just whatever. If you want to start a podcast, and we're going off a rant here on your movie, but you want to start a podcast talking about birds, I will happily set it up. You talk, and fine. Yeah, no, I'm not recording you. Watching birds, but I think it would be hilarious. But no, anyhow, go on.
Yeah. So Owen Wilson's character is like the record holder in the world of like seeing a record amount of birds in a year and recording it. I think it's like 732 birds that he sees. And so Steve Martin is kind of like a guy, same thing as like Devil Wears Prada. This kind of idea I talked about earlier, where he's retired, he's trying to focus on what's important in his life, which I love this theme, by the way. Leaving your job and focusing on like your grandkids and focusing on, the things that really fucking matter, right? Because your job, I'm sorry, everybody who's hearing this, your job doesn't fucking matter. You can be as cool as you are, you can get as high as you can in the corporate chain, but the only thing that matters are the people around you and your family and those experiences. Because, when we do die, like those are the things that you will remember, not actually working. And so Steve Martin plays this kind of character who's just he loves birds. He's retiring and he just kind of wants to like see how many birds he can see in a year. Try to beat the record. And then Jack Black's like an up and coming like software developer engineer, and he also loves birds and he listens to birds on his spare time and he can identify them just by sound and everything. And so all three of these characters are competing in a big year to try to see who can see the most birds in 12 months in North America specifically. Owen Wilson obviously plays Owen Wilson the prick. And then Jack Black and Steve Martin kind of develop like a sort of alliance and kind of understanding a love of birds. And so it's very much, if you can understand this, I know you can, but it's a gentle comedy, really. Like it's not, it doesn't ask a lot of you. If you enjoy birds and you enjoy birding and the concept of birding, you're gonna really like this movie because it's gonna have a lot of Easter eggs for that. But it is a very low sort of how do I say, like, just kind of, you don't have to really think when you're watching this movie. Like, you are just kind of enjoying it, happening it. There are funny times. It's got a heartfelt message. And I was actually quite surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. I think I enjoyed it because of the birds, but it had that same kind of idea of being like, will you sacrifice your family and the things that you love for your passion? And I mentioned that with Devil Wears Prada. It's like, and the same thing with the Big Ear. It's like, okay, like is your record so important to you that you will literally delete everything else that is like actually more important? Like, what are you left with after that? Like, okay, you beat your own record and you're the best in the world and you've seen the most birds as you can, but you've lost everything else. Like, what does that mean? And I really like that about this movie. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie, to be quite honest with you. I love Birds. And I love Steve Martin, Jack Black, and Owen Wilson. I think, they kind of played who they are through this movie, but I enjoyed it. It was just about priorities and, are your passions worth it? And I really liked how this movie was. I don't know who has seen this movie or who likes this movie. I'm sure it was a Blockbuster on the wall, maybe
I
before I
don't
left. I left
remember
in
it because
2011.
you said 2011, and I'm just like, I
Yeah,
was still at Blockbuster through
you
2012. But then
were.
again, yeah, because 2012 is when I left. But I think 2011 was, it depends when, well, when you say 2011, mind you, that's probably the theatrical release of 2012, but that was kind of the time when
Yeah.
they were buying them, they were kind of, buying so many copies from Walmart. I fucking hate it. That's just ran for another day. So yeah, I don't, like I said,
Yeah.
when you said this and I saw the cover, the cover doesn't, I did not recognize it. Obviously I never heard of it. And the fact is that I'm like, oh, that's weird. But anyhow, yeah, so I agree with you. I don't think it was there, but I could be wrong.
Maybe we couldn't afford it at that time at Blockbuster. Remember, we
But
had to go to Walmart to buy stuff.
that's what I just said. Yeah, I hated that. Um,
Yeah.
but as you said, Soto, this movie found you when it needed to find you. You didn't have to watch it back there. You watched it now as you're older.
I did, yeah. And it back then I didn't give a shit about birds. Obviously, like you remember what it was like back then. So it was nice to watch, and it was very easy to digest. And again, I think kind of how you feel about birds and how you like birds and how you understand how birds are just a wonderful part of nature will go a long way in whether or not you enjoy this movie. If you don't give a fuck about birds in your day to day, this movie might not make any sense to you. I mean, you'll understand like what they're trying to do because it is a story and it has 3 act structure and there is a resolution. But I just enjoyed the kind of celebration about birds, and then also again, like I've mentioned several times, just weighing out your priorities versus your passion and what makes sense and what's important to you. So the ultimate question is,
Where
of
does this go
course,
on your list?
where does this rank? And I'm pretty comfortable with ranking this. To be quite honest, I'm going to rank it at 24. That's going to go right under Chef.
Nope. I'll type that in there. There we go. Hey, not too bad. 24. It's a good number. Well, it's a good number.
Like
With
me some.
the fact they saw 66 movies, but
It is. I mean, I love me some good Steve Martin, and it was a much
that
more
was great.
enjoyable Jack Black movie than Minecraft was for me this year. So, yeah, it's the best Jack Black movie I think I've seen this year.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'll be honest. No, I'm not rushing out to see this, but I never even heard of it.
You
But
should
that's
check
okay.
out Birds, man. They're pretty.
Birds. But Soto, that is 6 movies we talked about this week. It's been a while since we've done this many movies. I can't remember. It's been a
I
few
know.
months. It's kind of great. I mean, yes, we talked longer than usual, but yeah, it had a lot of interesting movies. We had a movie about birds, a movie about quarantines, and shitty bosses. So definitely a full week. But do you have any plan? Do
Nice.
you know what you're watching for next week?
I have no fucking clue.
I love that. That's
I've
what
been
I
thinking
do.
about. I've been thinking about that Predator movie, like the anthology one. Um,
Prey? Is that what it's called?
but I don't fucking. Well, no, it's called like Predator Hunting Grounds. It's on Hulu.
Oh,
Um, but I don't know. Like it's more of an animated thing, but because I haven't seen too many animated movies on my list. But I don't know. I don't have anything burning. But of course, I'm gonna turn on the old streaming cable box and see what just jumps out at me, and we'll go from there.
and
So
just press play. So, but
just
yeah,
press play.
that will do it for the 200 movie challenge. We are now 130 in. We will be doing this again next week. Don't know what movies. But this is the best part. You just kind of see what's on, go for the ride, and hope you enjoy it. And there's not much more to say. Just go out there and watch some good movies. And, if you want to, go watch some birds as well.